here.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. At the beginning of my time in college, I went out and purchased some large speakers. They were big and black and boxy, and they could make my entire dorm room and many of the adjacent rooms shake. During those college years, I loved to lay on my couch and feel quite literally the music wash over me. Most strangely, in retrospect, I would frequently nap on the couch with 100+ decibel music blaring, and not because I was completely exhausted, but because I found a certain sort of peace in the eye of the auditory storm. Walking through the old city of Jerusalem feels remarkably like laying on that couch. If you walk south through the Damascus Gate, you are immediately enveloped by a myriad of shops and waves of people in constant physical and verbal motion. Bursts of colors, smells, and language bounce along the narrow streets, and carts get pulled up steep steps on embedded causeways up the ramps. A little over 100 yards south, you reach a turn in the Via Dolorosa, the street that is home to many of the Stations of the Cross. On that corner lies one of my favorite spots in all the world, if not the favorite spot in the entire world, the Austrian Hospice. In college, I had a couch surrounded by seismic wave-inducing speakers. Now I have a bench on the roof of the Austrian Hospice in the old city of Jerusalem. The 360-degree view from that roof cascades down into the center of the old city. Minarets singing Islamic prayers are sighted by the tall steeples of nearby churches, including the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The golden dome of the rock shines in the distance, and the prayers of Christian pilgrims walking the path of Jesus down the Via Dolorosa can be heard up on the roof. Off in the distance, you see the edges of the plaza of the Western Wall. By almost all quantifiable metrics, it's a massively overwhelming location. To me, in that space, I couldn't be more at peace. In that absolutely overwhelming environment, I just know it's where I'm supposed to be. Why? Because I live my life to make the world a better place, and the absolute best place to do that is in the eye of the storm. One of my long-term mentors is fond of saying, dream big. He says it so often, it could be called the primary theme of the school that he leads. If you want to talk about dreaming big, let's talk about Romans 12, 9 through 21. It's certainly quite the storm of expectations. Love must be sincere. Okay, that seems simple enough, but for your love to be truly sincere, you must be well attuned to yourself, very well attuned. Hate what is evil, cling to what is good. Again, it seems simple enough, but it calls for an absolute identification that could take an entire lifetime of wisdom to obtain. Determining what is good and evil is not always easy. Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. But we can be such selfish creatures, can't we? Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor serving the Lord. Perpetual faith isn't very easy. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Hope can certainly be painful. We frequently want to get well fast. We can sometimes be so busy that we forget prayer. My, how we make excuses. Share with the Lord's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. Americans give on average 4% of their income to charity. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. This seems to be almost impossibly hard at times. Rejoice with those who mourn, mourn with those who mourn. Rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn. Pure empathy is a noble goal. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position. Do not be conceited. It seems at times that we are predisposed to be evolutionarily driven to do the opposite of those things. Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everyone. This may be the hardest to live by. How many times have you seen someone repay evil with evil? Also, is anything right with everyone? Is it possible, as far as it depends on you, if it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone? I find it quite interesting that this is the only passage with the qualifier, if it is possible. Is this, in fact, what is meant to be the largest challenge in this Powerful list. Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath, for it is written, "It is mine to avenge, I will repay," says the Lord. Oh, how dearly I wish this was universally upheld by all of mankind. On the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. In doing this, you will heap coals upon his head, which remember is a good thing. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. To that I have to say simply amen, or as my late grandfather would say, ah. What storm of expectations indeed. They are absolutely overwhelming. Is any mortal person all of these things? Like the induction of the seemingly mythic Jerusalem syndrome that can drive pilgrims to intense states, it would be easy to succumb to Romans' seemingly unattainable list of personal characteristics and behavior and give up entirely. But remember, we're at the eye of the storm. This is where betterment can be maximized. But how is that possible when so much work is needed to be done? How do we move forward when the top of the mountain sometimes isn't even visible? By taking one step at a time. Ultimate Peace Camp is the most concentrated dosage of awesome I have ever experienced. The camp is all about the kids, Arab Israeli, Jewish Israeli, and West Bank Palestinians, and they are truly spectacular. On top of that, the staff is staggeringly impressive. Yes, there are living legends of the sport all over the place. Such a concentration that on a daily basis I have to physically keep myself from asking for autographs. But that is not what makes them surreal in their powers to impress. Their superpowers stem from each of them in turn being the best at something commonly viewed as regular. Each staff member has taken me up at least one of the steps up Romans Mountain. Here are a few. There's Ben, the most emphatically empathetic person I know. If anyone in this world has the ability to truly step into someone else's shoes, it's Ben. And there's no one out there who wouldn't give him their shoes to step into. Ben connects. There's Danny, the woman who can gently press the immensity of ultimate peace into words. Her blog posts can regularly and perfectly encapsulate what it's like to be at camp. Danny speaks. There's David, the one with long-term vision who lives out the very regular idea that you can help begin to solve one of the most complex situations on the planet by simply bringing people together. David believes. There's Stu, the coach who brings me paragraph-long, handwritten, beautiful missives about camp life each morning at breakfast, secretly placing them onto my breakfast tray. Stu sees his own kids and all of the campers and is propelled to perfect, genuine action. Stu loves. Then there's Kareem, the man who holds the Ultimate Peace Center together, who lives and works on a daily basis inside of and surrounded by complex pressures that would make even the hardy of us flee quickly. He, like I aspire to do, takes one step at a time, all the time. Kareem never gives up. Ben connects, Danny speaks, David believes, Stu loves, Kareem never gives up. When you examine Romans 12 or the Middle East peace process, it all seems insurmountable, but it's not. Regular people can do extraordinary things just by being their own personal amazing version of regular. We like and are driven to think as linear partitioned beings, and there's certain value to this focus on linearity. It helps us take one step at a time on challenging journeys, both physical and spiritual. At the same time, though, we need to keep our heads up and our eyes open, as well as our ears and our hearts open to everything around us. For otherwise we risk walking far, far, far off of the path we want to be on. Staying this open and aware can be overwhelming, like being on the streets of the old city of Jerusalem, or working to build a better ultimate peace future. But the information and the experience is necessary in order to plot the course. Not long ago, I was bouncing emails back and forth with a dear Ultimate Peace Coach friend of mine who lives in Jerusalem. Our conversation was expansive, and one of the questions I asked her was, can you explain why some people with tons of power lack basic kindness? Here's her totally unedited reply. I wish I had a better answer for you than, that's life, but some people just totally suck. And I recently saw a message that I really liked. Everyone is fighting a battle that you can't know about, so be kind. Sometimes you just want to punch people until they get that. I'm reminded of the incessant honking in Jerusalem traffic when people can't see that someone is crossing the road 4 cars ahead. They can only see the green light, which means go now. But everyone in our life teaches us something and contributes to the development of our own character/soul in some way. This is kind of bordering on my own philosophy about a soul a bit, which I see it as a core of ourselves, our own light, but then we exchange the outer parts with some people we come in contact with in our own lives. You get some of theirs, make it some of yours. So maybe, if nothing else, you're offering shards of light for whoever these people are, or in the very least, learning how to endure heartache and frustration without letting it knock you off your high horse. Well, those little philosophical whacks I didn't know I had in there, but hope some of it helped, but mostly it was just me yammering. Here's a person doing something so very regular, emailing a kvetching friend, but doing it in a spectacularly honest and impactful way. I can't tell you how many times I've thought of that email over the past months, and in particular, the statement, "Everyone is fighting a battle you can't know about, so be kind." The world may be loud and crazy and seemingly callous. Alas, that's the perfect time to open up yourself even more and see that person crossing the street 4 cars up from you. Thank you, Rachel, for sharing that bit of light with me. Soon I will be returning to the Middle East, where I'll be endeavoring to expand my experience and create as much good as I possibly can from the eye of the storm. On a bench, on a roof in the old city of Jerusalem, and several other similar locations, I will fold prayer cranes. In Ashkelon, a town in southern Israel, I will teach and frolic with brilliantly kind children that will be a better future for us all. In the midst of the cacophony of the region, I will be joined by my family of Ultimate Peace coaches, individuals who show quite clearly that the impossible is certainly possible, surely by being spectacular at the regular. We are all spectacular at something regular. Therefore, blessed be us all. We are all peacemakers. Thank you.